Hey everybody, welcome back to another episode of the Tactical Leader. And we are on Tactical Friday to talk with Bill Reiman. Yet again, you heard from him this past Monday. And we're going to talk a little bit more about the Real Build podcast and the pieces of real estate that he's educating his audience on. Bill, welcome back to the show, my friend.
Zach, glad to be back, man. Had fun last time, ready for this time. So looking forward to it.
And I'm excited about it because you hit on a couple of things that I really want to dive further into. I've had a lot of rental properties over the years, started in single family, moved into multifamily with my holding firm, and we're focused in a different realm supporting nonprofits. But you hit on something that I thought was really important for people to understand because I've learned it the hard way. Sounds like you've learned it the hard way. And overall, you focus on a couple of things on your podcast and educating. You said there's a trend. You see a lot of people talk about how important it is to build a team around your real estate transactions, but more specifically, how important communication among that team is, which applies to any team and every team. You have to have really solid communication. Let's talk a little bit about that. Tell us the lessons you've learned from the podcast, a couple of those, and then why is communication so important, especially when you're dealing hundreds of thousands, millions of dollars. So tell us why. Why is it important to communicate when we're dealing with so much money?
Yeah, I mean, to go on that, obviously communication, in my opinion, is probably the most important thing in the construction industry and in real estate in general as well. Uh, I've I've had a lot of guests on my podcast, and they all go back to the same thing. They go back to the same point, and that's communication. And sorry, can we pause it real quick? There's a horn going off.
Yeah, I don't even hear it.
All right, we're back. All right, good.
Okay.
Sorry about that. It was just
No, no, no,
going
no,
off
no.
for like 5 minutes straight too,
No,
and
no.
that's all I was hearing right outside this window.
Man, it's really good mic. I don't hear any of it. So we'll make sure to cut that out, but keep rolling right into it.
Yeah, so communication is one of the best. I mean, one of the biggest things in that in every aspect of construction and real estate. And every guest I have on my podcast, we always go back to communication and how we can communicate better, but how we are currently doing it within our business as well. In construction too, I am always looking for every single way that I could communicate better. And I think that's what the podcast too, it helps me because I hear from other people of how they're doing it and how I can take these little nuggets in myself and kind of implement that into our own business and obviously in my real estate business as well too. And it's just there's so much in the process of building a custom home, and there's so many steps. And the thing with that's different between us and a lot of other areas of the country too is there's a lot of the people we build for are here 6 months out of the year. So we're really having to communicate to them because they're not here to see the project. They'll fly in here and there to check it out, but it's like, how can we communicate better? And I've done stuff like video. I've done stuff, obviously, phone calls and doing pictures for them and so on, but actually doing the walkthrough videos and showcasing on my YouTube channel where we're at. I actually had a customer that we just broke ground for. He's like, "You gonna do YouTube videos for my house?" I'm like, yeah, sure. I mean, I didn't know you." He's like, "Yeah, I watch your YouTube. I'd love for you to do my house step by step." I'm like, "Absolutely." So it's such an important process, and especially and back to real estate. Let's go on that angle too. If you're a realtor, you're selling a property. There's a lot of steps to that property. You got to keep that client, that buyer, that seller in tune of what exactly is going on in that process, but you got to keep it in line too. You got to keep the deal structured. You got to keep the deal together. And the best way to do that is communication. I've had to do it even for if I was a buyer representing a buyer, I've had to help the seller side and communicate to them of what's going on because I was with an agent that wasn't too good at their job. We've all come across those in the real estate world. Not getting too deep into that, but I teach that on the real build. You'll hear me talk about a lot about it and its importance and how I go about it within my business too. Touch points, I like to say, are so crucial. And what I mean by a touch point is you're always touching base at least weekly, once or twice a week, with the client, kind of saying what's going on and not leaving them blind. Because when you leave clients blind and they don't know what's happening, they start to worry. Think about yourself. When you don't know what's going on about something, you tend to think the worst thing rather than the best thing it's going on too, because
And
we
more
are
questions get
humans.
asked. That's when questions
Yep.
pop up. And they, from the client side, and I had a custom house built back in 2014, 2015 or so. And it was the first and only time I ever built a house. And I literally drove by that damn thing. I swear, once a week, twice a week, because I'm expecting to see something, right? But what you don't realize is the initial piece takes forever. The
Hmm.
digging, the leveling, all that piece, getting the foundation down, which took a month, 2 months. I can't even remember. I just remember feeling it drug on and on and on. And I was calling the builder, "Hey man, what the hell? Hey man, what the hell?" And that's when those questions, I wasn't getting communication. And I think that's
Hmm.
so key when you're talking about the customer experience attached to things, understanding from my end, I wasn't very educated in real estate. So I didn't know how long it was supposed to take, but I wasn't being told anything either, which creates a bad customer experience, which for so many reasons is not what you want from your side as you're building, right?
Hmm. And brushing on what you just said there, right there is a prime example, because not a lot of people have that understanding of how homes are built. Not a lot of people have the understanding of the process of real estate and how to buy a home or sell a home too. And that's where, but a lot of builders lack in that too. They lack in the communication. That's where what gets them in trouble. That's where the money is lost. That's where, time is lost too, because I said in the last episode too, I said builders struggle with time, they struggle with price, they struggle with, that they might they try and cut corners because they're struggling with the two before that too, to save time and money, and that just makes everything go downhill. But if you have good, strong communication from the beginning and explain the process of why it is the way it is, let the customer know, get ahead of things too, and especially in the world we live in today. That's one big thing that I've started to do, is because I don't know, the prices are all over the board. They've been going up, and now there's, because a lot of them are stabilizing. We just don't know what to expect in the trades, and that's the thing. Is what I've tried to do is, when I first do that executed contract, or that initial bid amount, I say, I bid this high. This number's high. This number is a little, it could be low. We just don't know. Lumber could go down, which it did with a lot of the jobs that I originally quoted. So they have that margin there. It's setting that expectation up front is the biggest thing you can possibly do. That goes to your communication, but then through the process as things are happening, reminding them what you said, reminding them, because people forget it's a big project. There's a lot of things that go on. There's a lot of steps that go on within the process, and saying, hey, remember when I told you this? Hey, remember when I brought up that concrete could possibly go up this? And then they understand. They go, yeah, Bill, you're right. You did say that. Dirt, fill. I mean, down here in Florida, Southwest Florida, I should say, we don't have a lot of dirt. We got to truck it in. So it's expensive. And that's where that communication too is, hey, your fill could be this much because they got to go out to Fort Myers or whatever, and it's quite a truck. You got fuel costs, you got all this. Setting that expectation up front is one of the biggest, most crucial things in any business, but people are afraid to do it because they're afraid of the backlash, and then they're afraid to deal with it later on. But it's going to be a lot worse later on if you don't do it up front. I'm telling you. And that's been one of the biggest things that I've implemented as far as communication.
Yeah, it makes me laugh because I remember going back through that process and I couldn't even get a hold of the builder. Like he was one of those, I couldn't get a hold of anybody. And
Or
I
yeah.
had, man, it was rough. But at the end of the day, there's a lot that goes into that. And I
Hmm.
was always on the renovation side with my dad. So I didn't have any concept of like what building, not renovating a house looked like. So when I was going through that and was kind of getting stonewalled, then I look at the rental properties I had for so long. Even in the rental properties, it's like every aspect of real estate. You're messing with people's money, right? It was my money when I was getting one built, but also when you have rental properties, every aspect of real estate, that communication is so key because realistically, when you think about it, it's usually the highest bill in the house is the mortgage or the rent, and it's where people live. So if you're kind of playing with that, those are like the two most emotion driven aspects of somebody's home life is their how much they're paying and where they're paying and where they're staying. So you really have to highlight like communication is really key, but also from the buyer side or from the renter mortgage side, we need to understand why all of this is taking time. understand it, get educated on it, which is what your podcast goes into. You talk
Mhm.
about these different aspects. You're telling me, and give us a rundown. What type of guests are you having? Because from what it sounded like, you have like every spectrum of possibility in real estate on your podcast, just to understand every aspect of real estate, which is so key for everybody to know about if they're dealing in real estate.
Yeah, I've had it's crazy. I've literally had everybody from flippers to multifamily investors to funding people to designers to builders to commercial guys to commercial development big commercial development guys, all the way to fire safety specialists to mold specialists and technology people. And I'm always just trying to find those niches that I have not hit on, just so I have a log of information that can help people with that process. Because construction and real estate are so detailed, even general real estate. If I'm a real estate agent, I want this knowledge. That's the thing. And I've real estate agents actually reach out to me and they're like, how do you do it? How do you sell? What are you doing? And I'm like, knowledge. It goes back to the car sales thing. When I went in the brochure room and learned literally every single thing about those cars, you should know every single aspect about a home. Most realtors, the problem with them, and things have been easy lately. Let's put it that way, as far as real estate, but things are about to shift, and they're starting to change and go back to the old way, where you're going to have to hustle a little bit and sell something. No longer is it where somebody just walks in and offers over asking, and so you're going to need knowledge on how exactly that house is built, what's in it, and so on too. I was talking to my fiance's sister, who's a real estate agent, yesterday, and she was asking me, I go, you need to just study everything in that listing. Go in that house, take notes, write it down, touch the cabinets, look at the appliances, look at the floors, look at what's in that. Go climb up in the attic, pull the attic access down. And what kind of I go, what insulation's in that house? She said, I don't know. I go, well, I'm not buying it. I was just messing with her, but it was just all those little details as much as possible that gives you that knowledge. What year's the pool heater? What year's the AC system? So on. But it all goes back to, you know, those things, having the knowledge, and that's what is on my podcast, is bringing people in that can educate the customer, educate the client as much as possible before they make the biggest decisions of their life, which is a home. A home is one of the biggest investments of your lifetime. You need those key points, that knowledge. And I looked, and there's a lot of podcasts based on teaching realtors how to sell real estate. There's a lot of podcasts on builders, how to build, and handyman and so on, but there wasn't anything as much as, here's what the customer should be doing step by step to be able to build a house or invest in a property or do stuff like that. And that's what I'm trying to do. And I'm just still trying to hit these little things that I can try and figure out, that nobody's touching on to, and maybe have a framer come on my show and talk about framing, or, I've had a concrete guy come on my show and talk about pouring concrete, like, just so people have the knowledge of what is going on, because they're spending so much money. And that's kind of the outlook I wanted to do with that show. And it's been working. It's had success. I don't advertise. I kind of just do it because I'm always been that one to help people, and I just enjoy doing it. I meet a lot of great people through it, and build a lot of great relationships around the country and around the world. It's been awesome.
I love it, man. And I definitely think it's such a great little niche point of real estate where there are real estate podcasts no different than their leadership podcasts. We all
Mhm.
try to like narrow it down a little bit further. So I love how you've narrowed that down. And I want to give everybody the opportunity. Give us your contact information, your handles, social media, the podcast. Where can we find you, learn more about you, and of course, get this education in real estate that we all really, really need?
I'm pretty active on Facebook, Instagram. My Instagram is at, and then the letter I, and then the letter M, Bill Reiman. And then also Facebook is Bill Reiman. There's a couple of them. You'll see my business page and my personal page. I'm active on both. And then also you LinkedIn, of course, go on there, TikTok, YouTube. I have a YouTube channel. You can search my name on those as well. And then the podcast is the Real Build Podcast. I'm on like episode 153 now, going strong. Had, like I said, a lot of awesome guests on there. A lot of awesome guests to come to, and I just enjoy doing it, and just helping people. And I say it in every episode. I just do this to help people. But give me a 5-star review because I'm helping you. So, but no, I really enjoy it. It's been awesome. And I appreciate anybody that listens.
I love it, man. 5-star review. I always say, go give me a 5-star review if you got value. If you didn't, just don't leave a review. I don't want anything less than 5 stars, right?
There you go.
I love it, man. I love it. Definitely go check out Bill, y'all. I think this is awesome. It's been a great conversation. A great story on Monday if you didn't catch it. But this podcast, man, the Real Build podcast, is something that I think we all need to kind of check out. Listen more, learn more. It's what we all need to do. And you've obviously set that example yourself. So, brother, I appreciate your time. I appreciate the wisdom and value you brought to the audience today. And overall, man, thank you.